From the mind of Brian Tinsman, the lead designer behind some of Magic the Gathering's most daring worlds, like Kamigawa and Mirrodin, comes his boldest creation yet. Wonders of the First, a collectible card game built for the future and designed to last. No reprints, no world-breaking crossovers, just pure, original fantasy, crafted to protect collectors and ignite the player's imagination. In Wonders, every match is a story. You battle across 7 realms, summoning dragons, forging relics, and battling for control of the stones. The game runs on a fixed number of turns, so every choice, every moment matters. Wonders breaks new ground in collectability. Every card has a serialized version, vibrant orbital color matches, from 99 copies to just 10. And above them all, the ultimate prize, stone foils, true one-of-one masterpieces. Wonders stays true to its world. No cartoon or stuffed animal mascots, no borrowed IP. When celebrity guests join the game, they become characters within it, signing on-card autographs of the wonders they help bring to life. Since launch, Wonders has sold out nationwide, on shelves at Target, in game stores across the country, with a growing legion of over 25,000 players and collectors, and millions in secondary market sales with a current single item record of $33,000. The journey continues with our next chapter, Call of the Stones. Join the community, seek the stones, and discover Wonders of the First, a CCG unlike any other.
Are you guys hearing him?
Hey everybody, welcome to
Hey, we can hear you.
There it is.
Hey, that would help. Welcome to Creators of the First, powered by Radish. Let's do it one more time. We're going to dive into Wonders of the First. It's a turn-based deck builder packed with strategy, stunning art, unforgettable characters. I'm your moderator, sometimes muted, but Slappy White. I'm joined by the top creators in Wonders, Capricorn, Carolina Girl, and Ben from Be a Hero Gaming. American Texan might join us in a little bit. Make sure you're subscribed to them on YouTube. That's Quarantine Capricorn, Be a Hero Gaming, and then Wonders_workshop. All right, so Grace, that video just dropped 2 hours ago in the Wonders Discord. What are your thoughts about that video that they just dropped? What's the message? Why are they putting it out there?
I, for one, am really excited. I think it's sending a very clear message. There are some things that are very much meant to make it clear that the way they're doing celebrity guests is better than Universes Beyond, at least to target their frustrations that a lot of people are having with Universes Beyond. The big thing that I really keyed in on was we got to see 2 more cards of Stone Seekers, though, and I think maybe there was a hint at a 3rd Stone Seeker or a 4th Stone Seeker. I'm not as good at recognizing faces, so I'm not 100% sure, though.
Cap, Ben, thoughts?
Well, if you guys,
I didn't know.
Go ahead.
Until right now that we got another video. So I'm really excited about this. But Ben, what are your thoughts?
I was just going to say, I don't know if you guys caught that, but in answer to our question last week, they said over 25,000 collectors and players. And I think one of the questions we wondered about is how many people are. I don't know where they get that number from, but 25,000. That's a lot. It's a good start.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was hard because I was speaking with a few people after the show, and you succumb to groupthink. And I remember you guys were going kind of low, and I was trying to go high. And like when you guys started talking, I started coming back down. Grace, you were very conservative with your number.
I always am.
I will say one thing. It's not to belabor this video. Of course, we'll see more reaction from these guys in the content they're going to create. But one thing I think we can talk about, starting with the video that I pirated for the opening of Creators of the First, is that the level of quality, it has changed at at Wonders of the First, and it is movie cinematic quality. And I think, there so many people try to get a TCG going through Kickstarter. I think it's just another step of saying we have these celebrities who are going to now be part of the game, and they're stepping up their marketing. Do you guys think that'll make a difference? That'll move it? When people see an ad now for Wonders, it's not just an Instagram ad with maybe a couple clips of Brian Tinsman in the background, but do you think that actually moves the needle for people when they see this, like they take it more seriously?
I definitely think that people will take it more seriously. I think it's the ace up the sleeve, to be honest. I just think this idea of celebrity guests is maybe not all the pros of Universes Beyond, but very close to it with none of the cons. And I'm personally excited because it's a way to drive new traffic and get new people interested in it. Even if it's just from the collector standpoint, when you have a dedicated fan base that follows these different personalities, and they're going to at least want to see what this is about. And at the very least, even if they don't end up playing the game, they might want to get their hands on some as collector's pieces, even if they're not normally collectors of this kind of product, just because you could get, the autos and stuff like that. And then a gateway drug. Once they have it, they're going to be tempted to want to at least learn how to play. And then they'll get sucked in because every single person that I've ever taught how to play falls in love with the game. So I think it's exciting.
And by the way, I do want to share, it's Grace. I think you just mentioned we saw a couple new cards, and you can see them there. There's a couple of the cards. I don't think we've seen these before, right, guys?
It's the first. Yeah, first time.
Okay. Yeah, that Arnie Voss is amazing, isn't it, Ben?
Absolutely. And one thing I will say, you mentioned Kickstarters a second ago. So I look at almost any game I see flash across Facebook, which again, Facebook's algorithm knows me now, and it's literally just game ad after game ad. That's all it's on my feed. And I'll click on the Kickstarters and look at them. And I do feel a little bit bad, but almost every new collectible card game that I've seen come up on Facebook, I click on the Kickstarter and it just dropped today, and it has like $3,000 they've raised. And I feel bad. I want people's games to be successful, but Wonders of the First was just explosive from the beginning. And I think the benefit of this, I think it would continue to go big without this, but I think the benefit of this is, as some have already said, it's going to make it more mainstream. I mean, I was telling a coworker the other day that I was going with my son for the weekend to play a collectible card game, and she looked at me sideways like, "You're going to go do what? What are you doing?" It's like, what is this, like Pokemon or something? What are you doing? And it just seemed so weird to her that I was going to go play this game. And I think this kind of stuff, people are going to recognize it as more mainstream. It's not going to be just for weirdos. It's going to be for everybody.
For weirdos. All right. Well, listen, we're running a tight ship today. We're going to try to get everybody in the audience out there in 30 minutes. We're doing this live on our new home Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. That's where we're going to reside. So you can always join us live with live comments, live questions. Excited to see some folks in the audience, including Tasha, who was just talking in the Discord. They were excited to be watching some content from American Texan Plays. And as we can see in the chat, American Texan Plays says, well, since I'm not there, y'all might actually keep it to 30 minutes. So we miss American Texan. There's an issue going on. He's just not going to be able to join us live. So American Texan, can't wait to have you back. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the pre-sale. And so Capricorn, it's that I got stuck watching an 18-inning baseball game last night after driving back from Baltimore and getting home at 2 o'clock the night before. I thought last night was the night I was going to get sleep. I didn't. I was behind. I could not see your video that you dropped about the Discord announcement on the pre-sale for Call of the Stones, the second set. So why don't you share with us your general thoughts about the announcement for the pre-sale?
Well, I think everything going on with the pre-sale seems extremely generous as far as taking care of the current community for the game. I can't believe that if you buy a case, you can get access to a Dragon Box, like at a very reasonable price. I don't remember the exact prices off the top of my head, but I think it was $475 for a Dragon Box, which way less than what Existence Dragon Boxes are selling for right now. And I think these new Dragon Boxes are going to be much more hyped up, considering the fact that we have these celebrity guests and stuff. So it was crazy to see that. But even just across the board, it seems like the prices for everything they're offering a pre-buy, well, they didn't give us prices for everything, but what they've told us about just seem way lower than I expected, and definitely like a gift to the community, in my opinion. I'm really excited about. I think everyone's just gonna buy more than they intended. I really do. I don't know. It took me by surprise. I'm pleasantly surprised for sure.
I'm trying to pull up the announcement so I can talk about it as well. I'll be honest, as I was pulling it up, trying to use my third screen, I just want to make a note. I just picked up Lowlin for $425 on eBay. I am shocked the amount of mythics that I can get for under 10. Drogothar just got away from me. Drogothar went for over 20 and I wasn't paying attention, but that one went today. I own the art proof there. All right, getting back to the Dragon Boxes though, is that in terms of quantity, I don't think they mentioned it in this announcement, and I'm not sure, Capricorn, if you go into it, right? Because one of the things is you want, from a collector standpoint and from a player standpoint, there's two things there, right? Is that if you want to play in Dragon Cups, we saw how important those Dragon Boxes were, so you can get your entrance in. It also has, but to a certain extent, right? These are the cards you can pull out of. You can pull out of booster boxes. They're just prettier cards. They're formless foils. They're OCMs. They're serialized cards. There's a higher rate of stone foils, 1/1s. So if you're a player, the three of you guys are heavy on the play. I'm a weak player and I'm heavy on collecting. But for you guys from a Dragon Box, what more beyond entrance into the Dragon Cup and getting to play your deck does a Dragon Box mean to you as a player?
I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there, but I mean, I also think players in general, because of these celebrity guests, are that much more excited about possibly hitting collector pieces than they otherwise might be. So I think even me not leaning as deeply into the collector side, I'm like, ooh, I need to, like, what if I get one of those celebrity guests? Like, what if I hit a chase card for that? Like, I don't know. It just feels that much more appealing to a primarily play-based player like myself. I just feel like that's going to ripple through the community. I feel like a lot of people that are more player than collector are just going to be gravitating more to the collector side into these Dragon Boxes, because I think that's the effect that these celebrity guests can have. And also I have a gut feeling that things that have been hinted at in the Discord here and there, I think there's going to be a little bit of a shift in the makeup of these Dragon Boxes. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Dragon Boxes themselves end up being even more exciting than what we're expecting, what we got with Existence. So I'm just excited to find out more. Every time they drop this info in front of me, it feels like a morsel, and I need a big piece of meat to chew on, you know?
All right, well, we got SCG Baltimore to talk about, but Ben and Grace, yeah, Ben, let's hear what you have to say about
real
that.
Quick. Jeff said that.
No, not quick. Let's hear your thoughts.
So, some time ago, he said that if you miss out on the Dragon Boxes, you're going to regret it, making it sound like they're going to be even better, if you can imagine.
He's literally said they're going to be better.
And the thing is, I'll have to say, I want to say two things. One, not everybody shares Capricorn's enthusiasm for the price point. Everybody thinks that. And I think for me, it was a little higher than I wanted to see. But the issue is, I think we got spoiled with the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter spoiled us and put in our minds these low prices, and they did not stay there. The second they came out, they went to outer space, which was expected. And so that's part of it, is being spoiled with the Kickstarter. But the second thing I want to say is, it is a very
wait, hold on, Ben. I have to
weird-
wait, hold on, Ben. You said the prices went to outer space. Let's be clear. Not a 2-player bundle, not a starter, but a collector booster is $8 a pack. Is that's your definition of the prices went to outer space?
No,
Was that
so
what
I
you...
mean with the existence set. Well, so with the
Oh,
Kickstarter,
sorry. I thought
He's
you
talking
meant...
secondary market.
Yes,
Yes,
sorry.
I'm talking secondary
You're talking
market.
about the existence where it went, not
Yep.
what came out. Okay, sorry.
Yep, yeah, those went up. And so I think we got those of us that backed the Kickstarter were kind of spoiled, because we felt like, man, I got a ton of boxes for cheap in the Kickstarter, so I'm not going to be able to get as many of these Call of the Stones boxes because they're a little bit more. But the price matches the market now is the thing. But the other thing I wanted to say was, it's a weird experience opening a dragon box.
Oh,
and the reason is it's strange. And I wasn't sure I liked it. And I even commented on Discord, like, I don't know if I like this. This is weird. Where you open up a pack and every single card is a full art special Formless foil card that is a limited edition. Every card. And so usually, and I'm glad American Texan is psyched for the boxes, because you should be. Because usually, like, you open a pack and you're looking for the card, like, oh yes, I got this card, or 3-4 packs later, I got this card. But with the dragon boxes, every card you just stop and admire every card you get, and it's a weird experience. And so, I commented, like, I don't know if I like this. It seems like too much, and apparently they made it even more.
I when I came out of the shattering, and so I had really fortunate luck on my first pack. As everybody knows, I opened a dragon box first. My first pack, I ripped a stone foil, and I stopped ripping because and I was like, well, I'm gonna stop. Like, seriously, what else is there? It's like walking into a craps table in Vegas and winning $1 million. Like, do you keep gambling? So I came out of the shattering, and I told folks, I'm like, rip your boosters before you rip your dragons. Don't go dragon back to booster, because I've never done heroin before, but I imagine ripping a dragon box is like doing heroin. It is just like every card, every pack is just and to your point that, how can it get even better? Hey, Grace, there was a question, Tasha, who is newer to the community, and obviously some concerns. So before your general reaction, though, can you just answer this? Tasha says, I'm hoping it gets more clear on how likely non-OGs are to score. And of course, for Tasha, if you don't know, Carolina girl, is that she's very involved in the community. She's been there since day one, even before Wonders of the First existed. And so she's familiar with how they treat their community. Tasha, the good news is you're still early. You are the OG community. So Grace, what are your thoughts? Do you think she's going to be shut out? She or he?
No, I mean, I don't think that that's in the Discord is going to be shut out. And it's not hard to get into the Discord, at least unless they've added like checks to get into Discord that I'm not aware of. It's not hard. And it's like the Wonders team always takes care of the community. Like, if you're in the Discord, they're going to take care of you. I think the only thing where it's going to be leaning more towards one group versus another is, I think, in the whale community specifically, if you spent a lot of money on the Kickstarter and they're going to reward people who've spent a bunch of money, but that's mostly going to affect people who are spending a bunch of money, because the only thing that I saw in there where it was going to affect how long you've been in is if you order a ton of boxes, we reserve the right to bring down your order a little bit. I don't think most of the newer players are going to be ordering enough to reach that necessary bar of being affected by that. I mean, Slappy, does that sound accurate to you?
Yeah.
You're more on the collector side there.
Well, I will say is that I tend to be conservative financially, but a long time ago with Frenchie, who's the person behind Wonders of the First, I just decided he literally has never failed the community. When something doesn't go right, he finds a way to make it better. And I can't tell you how many times, and don't hate me community, but I'll tell Jeff, I'm like, you did too much. I'm like, you did too much. Like, don't do that. Like, we don't need that. And it leads to an entitled community. I'm like, you're too nice. I'm like, you got to stop it. So I decided I'm going to just max every time I can with everything that Frenchie does. And I said, the first time I get burned, and this is not financial advice for me, I was like, the first time I get burned, it won't hurt as much because I literally have had success after success after success because I went heavy on the Kickstarter. So I will say this is that for me personally, is that I am going to gamble and I am going to, it's not gambling, I am going to go heavy. I will be getting cases. I will be getting more dragon boxes. Because the price of the dragon boxes, the first set had just over 3,000 dragon boxes. This set will have that, or originally we were scheduled to have 5,000, but we couldn't even sell 5,000 because the product wasn't available yet. And people were like, listen, I've already invested a couple thousand. I'm not sure in this imaginary product I want to do more. But so there's going to be 3,000 to 5,000 of these dragon boxes. The price is shown to be about $1,000 before it gets delivered. You have a chance to buy it for $500. These collector booster boxes, you're getting them for $250 for $8 a pack. I would be shocked if you could not sell a dragon box for $475 and your booster boxes for $250. So you can at least get your money back. And what will happen? It's like we saw what happened with the Kickstarter. So I feel confident buying very heavy on this for myself and knowing if something happens, there will be a market. And the final thing I will say is, Jeff is not a big company that just decides one day that $1 billion venture they tried as a subsidiary doesn't work out. Frenchie just went ahead and signed Tom Fenton and Arnie Vosloo and Ben Affleck. I don't know what the cost was. Say it's $1 million. I have no idea. And yeah, millions. And the marketing push they're going to get. There's no guarantee Wonders of the First will be here in 10 years. We all think it will. We're big believers in it. But I can tell you it will be here in 1 year because there's no way that the Wonders team and Frenchie will not be pushing behind all the money they've invested in these celebrities and the Call of the Stones. So it's good for the next year. All right. Sorry, guys. I know we want to keep it 30 minutes. And I went on.
Just real quick, too, I want to add there's something important that people need to know is that people have complained for the longest time that the dragon boxes are only available through BPX miles, which is the reward currency through their site there. People complain about that, and they said, nope, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. We're not going to, and now they're available. And so
asking ye shall receive.
Yes, these people that felt like they were shut out, this is your chance. This is your chance to get them at a very, very reasonable price. And nobody saw this coming.
And in fairness to Frenchie, I think he clarified. He said, I always said that you were going to have a chance to get it a different way. Everybody forgot that. But he said, no, we did say there was going to be another way. I forgot that personally. So you're right, Ben. It's not just miles. All right. So we can, something, it's like, I thought we wouldn't spend more than 10 minutes on this, the Geek presale. But let's move on to SCG Baltimore, because the big question is, you had Ben and Richie who were both playing in the tournament there. And the question is, did the finals come down to Richie and Ben at the Wonders?
I'd rather talk about the prices more. Let's talk about the prices more.
Should have been an exhibition match.
At 30 minutes, Ben, just lift over your table and say, I'm out of here. And then you can sign off that way. But all right, so tell us about SCG.
Why don't you give your thoughts first, since you got to get out of here in a little while?
It's a roller coaster of thoughts. I will say, after my first couple of days and first couple of tournaments, I thought, I am not a competitor. I am a competitor. I am a competitor at heart, but I don't think I'm a CCG competitor, because what I thought was a contender deck, I thought I'd put together something which my deck, essentially, I went with a tuned. So I had a tuned Petraea and a tuned Heliosynth, and that was my deck. And I thought I was going to do really well. And I just got hammered. I mean, just the decks these people had. So, let me tell you this. I slipped in to the top 8 somehow for the constructed 1,000 DBS. And so I was seeded number 8. So I had to play number 1. And I was on the end of the tables there. And so people were kind of gathered around watching us play because we were right there on the end. And I'm sure people were looking there thinking, why does that bald guy have no cards on his mat? And the other guy has like half his deck spread on his mat, because everything I put out, he would just remove it and take it off. And after a while, I was just kind of sitting there thinking, should I concede? No, just play one more round. Should I concede? No, play one more round. And I just got obliterated. And so anyway, with that said, as I've had time to cool off and settle down, I thought, don't give up. Maybe I am a competitor. I just need to be a little smarter.
I think it's just growing pains. Ben. The more you experience that kind of environment, the more you adjust to it. You're also getting a lot of experience with what the top tier of the competitive play, looks like what kind of decks are out there and what they do. And I was in the same place you were, uh, you know, back before Orlando when I was trying to compete in tabletop simulator tournaments, and I was trying to play with some of the better players and get up to snuff on tabletop simulator. And I was like, man, I got some catching up to do. And I've got people behind me on the channel that are like rooting for me, that want me to do well. I can't let them down. So there's definitely some growing pains adjusting to what is out there. And sometimes your core idea is fine. It just takes a little bit of nuance. It takes going, okay, I know they're going to cut me off at the knees if they get rid of this. So maybe I need a way to protect myself from that. Or there's this one card that's just like really crazy against me that's just going to take over the game. I got to make sure I have an answer to that. So it's about taking those core ideas you have that I think are really good, and just finding ways to sort of lean into what the meta is and what the popular powerful cards are, and make sure you have the right answers, as well as, your core synergies and your core ideas that you're trying to utilize. Because I think conceptually your deck was super sweet. So I think it's just
thank you.
that.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And the idea is, I don't mean to get all be a hero on you here, but my son was taking it really hard. I had to, like, almost every match, I had to really kind of talk him down. He was really having a hard time. And I kept telling him, and I was trying to do the same thing. And
he beat me.
And I was telling him, the idea is you see, why did you lose? Why did you lose? What strategy did they employ that you can employ? Did you see good combos that they used? And so when I started losing, I thought, hey man, this is a good time for me to see, what are you doing that's trouncing me so much? And the reality is, you only lose for 3 reasons. 1, you had a bad shuffle. Can't do anything about that. 2, you played wrong, which I did a couple of times, and I thought, don't ever do that again. Or 3, you don't have the right cards in your deck. Those are the only reasons you're going to lose. And so if you had a bad shuffle, you can't do anything about it. You can just learn from the plays you make and the cards you have. And that's it.
I agree.
Yeah, I think there's also a mindset aspect to it that I don't know that you necessarily maybe struggled with, Ben, but there is
I struggled.
a switch that you have to flip in your brain when you go to play competitively. And Cap has seen me when I'm playing competitively, and he has not seen me when I'm not playing competitively. And that's like the switch that you have to make when you go to play competitively, to think at the level of like, how am I going to win? And like, there's like levels of thinking that you wouldn't even normally go to. And like,
well, no, Grace, I was just going to say, when we started this, I mentioned to Capricorn, seeing him in Baltimore. We literally were 3, 6, 8 inches apart, and we bumped fists, and I said hi, but he wasn't in match play. He was getting ready for a match. He does not remember that. So to your point, Grace, right? That's the switch you're talking about.
He was locked in.
I vaguely remember fist bumping people, but I was
the problem is Capricorn's got so many people lining up to fist bump him. They all just start to blend together. They're just
I'm just glad you were there, Ben, because when you're at events, it has a different vibe. It feels you bring the tension down a little, the stress down a little, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's me and my people. It's like, just let's have a good time. So I just liked having you and your son there, just in general.
I'm glad, because there's a couple times Capricorn was getting a little fired up.
For sure.
Well, it's for let's talk about the gorilla in the room and the Magic, the Flesh players, the people who came over who saw prize money and wanted to go there. We had a little discussion about Houston and the people who came over and what they thought of the game. I was interested to go in there, and I have to admit, I was expecting the worst. But I spoke to a number of these Magic players, and we found out that they found some old videos of Ben from a year ago, and Ben said he was embarrassed. And they looked at him, they're like, "Hey, we're not doing too bad, so you did something right from a year ago," and they were proud to do that. But how did the Magic players and the Flesh players do, who had started looking? it's a little bit too easy to say like they saw the money, so they just signed up. These guys, like, they haven't put in the months that you have put in, but they put in hours. They put in hours. They learned it. They wanted to be competitive. What was the general feedback that you guys got, and how did they do in the tournament? And Capricorn, we still have to talk about Sunday for you.
It was constructed, so we all were sort of on an equal playing field because it was constructed. But again, we have deck making experience. But so my first 2 rounds in the constructed tournament on Sunday were both Magic players. First time ever playing, I got trounced by both of them. And so, you know, and they were really optimistic about it, probably because I congratulated them and said they did a really good job. And every time they'd make a good play, I would say, ooh, that is a great play. That's an amazing way to play that card. And they're like, oh, wow, thanks. You know, they had no idea that they were, you know, something I hadn't thought of. I'd see them make a great play, and I made a mental note of it. But they were really pleased just to hear someone compliment their play. And I mean, they played better than me. They both beat me. So what else can I say?
It's amazing what treating people like people will do.
Exactly.
That's a great point.
I definitely see a shift in attitudes. In Orlando, it felt very much like people were embarrassed to be playing, like they didn't want to be seen by their friends, like doing it. And in Houston, everyone was really excited. So many Magic players were like making it known that they were excited about the game. And then in Baltimore, it kind of felt like it was kind of in the middle. It felt like towards the beginning, people like thought that they needed to be embarrassed and went into it with that kind of an attitude. But by the end, I feel like they were all loving it and they weren't really holding back anymore. I feel like this game is just good enough. That's the thing. If you play it, you realize it and you can't really deny it. And I think that's winning a lot of players over. I think doing the sealed 10Ks was the smartest thing they could have done because it's just exposing this to some of the better players on the CCG circuit and just proving to them that it's a great game by forcing them to come over and take our money, you know? Yeah. And right. I don't want to lose, but if I got to lose, at least it's growing the community in the process.
Well, in Capricorn on Sunday, you were still playing. Ben, you and your son were out, but Capricorn, you were still playing. So tell us about Sunday's tournament and the result, how you did.
It was sweaty, man. I did make it into the top 16. I did not top 8. I didn't top 8 in the constructed tournament either. That's a first for me. It feels weird. But the sealed event was... There were some new rules in place. There's a lot more draws. They took away the ability to win by having the first realm tiebreaker stone, which felt really bad. It caused a lot more draws. And so a lot of times it was like the people that were lucky enough to not have to draw out were kind of making it further up the ladder quicker. With sealed, that can be a bit more of an issue too, because you have a lot of newer players. So sometimes you might know what you're doing and you might be fast, but if your opponent is playing kind of slow, it still might get to that point where you run out of time and you go to a draw, because that was the other thing, like the timing rules. You know, right now they tried something new in Baltimore where if you go to time, you just get one action each and then it's over. And there were a lot of situations where that hurt. that was painful, because one action is not enough to change the board state. You need at least one to play something and then one to attack. The best you can do with one action left is turtle up if you're already winning. So there was definitely some growing pains to push through and learn, and I've already given the team a bunch of feedback. But regardless of all of that, there were just a ton of new players, and they were all playing really well.
Well, in Capricorn, Ben mentioned he played some Magic players as part of the losses that booted him from the tournament. But what about you? The losses that you were piling up, would you say they were and I shouldn't say that, you made it to the top 16 of the losses you had?
His were piling
how
up
did
as
they,
much as mine.
How would you break them down? Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. That's such a negative way of stating it. Like we have Ben B who levels up. Like let's level up and not be that negative. So Capricorn, of the few losses you had, is like, was it 50-50 for, and actually, I did something for Boba because I was curious to see, when I looked at the top 8, 65% of the people were Magic people, Magic and Flesh people. I went through and I looked at who registered, and they were 35% of the people registered, which as an aside, Boba scene is just a game of luck. And my point is, I was talking to somebody, a Magic person, who was kind of dismissing Wonders. We were over talking by the Wonder stuff, and he dismissed Boba outright. And I said, if it's just luck, why did the people who know strategy and plays and live and breathe this stuff and can think 3D chess, why were they 35% of the field? And they're 65% of the top 8 because they think different than sports collectors and they're dominating the game. Now, it doesn't go as deep as Wonders, and everybody can get to that level quicker and more people can reach it, but there is a level of strategy. So getting back to Wonders is that I didn't go through and look at who registered for the different days. I was hoping to do Wonder Saturday and then Boba Sunday. I just ended up showing up too late because of my daughter's cross country meet. But what did you guys think about the fields? Were the fields like 50-50 Wonders to other people? And then were the top 8, top 16 50-50? Or did you find that those folks overrepresented based on their entry in the field, if you follow me?
I kind of feel like the lines are starting to blur, to be honest.
Yeah.
I saw a handful of people that I saw at previous SCG Con events. Like I can remember specifically Orlando that I thought were Magic players, and now they were here at this other one. And this time they were not only competing in sealed, but they were competing in constructed. And I'm like, I thought these were, and I'm like, I'm starting to not be able to tell them apart.
That's great.
We have this spectrum now. Before it was like, there's the Discord community members and they know Wonders in and out and they've been playing it forever. And then there's the brand new players that come from another game and they don't really know anything, but they're learning super fast and they're doing well. And there was nothing in the middle. And now I'm truly starting to see this spectrum develop where there's all these shades of gray of players that have different amounts of experience with the game, people that are showing up to a second event. Some of the decks that they had just bought singles, like literally hadn't bought any sealed product whatsoever, just theory crafted a deck idea and then just bought the singles off of eBay or whatever. And that's the only cards they have is their constructed deck. It's really interesting to see that happen. And that's a really good sign as far as the health of the game. That's what you want, is you want to convert these players that are trying it at one of these events into people that then take the next step and start, playing in constructed. And even with it being a little tricky to get product right now, they're doing that.
Ben,
I'll just add to that real quick and then I got to roll.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Why don't you just give all your final thoughts and we'll let you off the stage.
So, like you, I think it was Capricorn that said, I think it was you, Slappy, that says when you play the game, you can't just help but like it. And it's interesting because I heard one Magic player say he was trying sealed the night before the Sunday tournament, and he said, "Oh, this game's pretty simple. It's it's just pretty much removal and meatballs. That's all it is." And then he came Sunday and just got smoked. And I think he realized there were so many more layers to the game that he didn't fully understand. And I think it kind of gave him pause and a chance to think, like, wait a second, maybe there's more to this game than I originally thought. There were other Magic players that, Slappy, I think there was one guy who stood and talked to us for a few minutes afterwards that, this game is really cool. And I just feel like you can't play it without realizing there's so many levels and strategies involved in this game. And one of the videos I did recently about why it's the best game ever is because it's not Magic and it's not Pokemon. And so many collectible card games out there are copies of those games with a few rule changes. And, I'll see a new collectible card game up in the corner is a fire and then 2 colorless. I mean, it's just Magic. It's the same thing. Or these other games that the cards look just like a Pokemon card, but it's a different game. Wonders is an extremely unique game because it's not one-on-one me versus you. You have 7 realms of control, and there's so much strategy and gameplay. Every action counts. every bit of energy counts, and you just can't help play the game but be intrigued and think, where can I go with this? This is a ton of fun. So
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right.
anyway,
Thank you, Ben, for joining us.
yeah, hopefully I can get in longer next time, but I'll turn it over to you guys. We'll catch you guys later.
Thanks, Ben.
Much love, Ben.
Grace, with it, one of the questions I had for you, and it's funny because Capricorn just talked about he's seeing this kind of blending, and actually one of the questions that I was going to ask you all is that if they're trying to, and this kind of goes off what Ben was just saying, if we're trying to be something different than what's out there already, is that I was thinking, is SCG, is the SCG conventions the right way to go? Obviously, SCG does a great job of running these. And so, you could say like Frenchie's always creative and doing things different. So I do find it kind of interesting where we're like, all right, here's the factory where the sausage gets made. Like, let's get in line. Let's get our sausage made too at these SCGs. Do you think like, nope, this is a great way, like Cap saying, like, they're starting to meld, this is working? Or do you think like they should go their own way and do something with SCG unique on their own?
I think it's a really smart move to do things the way they're doing them, and the way you put it, getting the sausage made the same way right now. Because humans are creatures of habit. We do not like but so much change all at once. And I think by setting up Wonders right now as it's beginning in a situation where the target audience, game players, are going to step in and see something familiar, it means that you're hitting that audience in a really smart way. In 5 years, if we have 1 million people playing Wonders, it might be time to do something different. It might be time to have, all of the events should be at Wonders only events or something. I don't know. But right now it's a smart move because it's just different enough in the gameplay that it's unique and it's fun, but it's not so different in how you show up and participate that people are like, it's too different. I can't do it. I don't understand what's going on. Like, I've been to events, not necessarily with card games, but like I've been to events where I'm like, nope, this is too different than what I was expecting. And it gets too overwhelming for people, or just too different. And your brain just goes, nope, I'm done. Don't like it.
Yeah. Well, and I think Capricorn, based on what you said, you'd say that they're on the right path. Just going
I think it's not perfect. There are some elements of it that make it not as amazing for the established and franchised player as something like the first Shattering. But I think some of those cons are just sort of a necessary evil, because what we need is to attract new players. And I think this will just exponentially help us attract new players. I think being right next to the game they're already playing, them being able to, not do well in one tournament and decide to go try out the sealed, I think that's exactly what they need to be doing. So I don't necessarily think it's the perfect route for us, but I think it's the closest we can get as far as growing the game in the right ways, which I think is the number one priority right now. Down the line, that could shift and that could change. The game blows up, turns into a huge thing, and we don't really need SCG CON anymore as much as maybe they need us. And then maybe things, start to shift, and who knows then. But right now, it's just getting the job done in a way that I don't think another series of events could.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And we should mention, Ben talked about, we spoke with a new person to Wonders. We spoke to a group. There was a group. One person went over and played Boba, and then the rest played Wonders, and they had been practicing the night before. And again, some of the condescension that I had heard about, maybe it was Orlando, I was expecting that. I didn't get any of that. People were just very much like, oh no, it's definitely interesting. And so he's agreed to come on. Mark was the player that I met. So we'll see about getting him and some of the others. So we'll bring him on, and I'm excited to have you guys kind of ask them questions about SCG Baltimore and how they felt about their play, about the game, and just their different thoughts. So we'll definitely do that. But Grace, any thoughts about SCG Baltimore?
I'm sorry I couldn't go.
We
I,
missed you.
Yeah, I've got to get to an event. It's just the graduating. There's 40 something days until I graduate, so the life is in maximum drive right now.
Well, then 40 something days and your hours forever.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we hope to obviously, Grace, for those who don't know, she's located near where the Wonders team is headquartered. So she's lucky in that she gets to have hometown events, and it makes it harder to travel, doesn't it? Because you're just waiting for that next event, like the Call of the Stones, to happen in your hometown.
Yeah, I was prepared to travel for the Shattering 2.0 and make it nice and easy for me. I should have gone to Orlando. I think that was the closest option for me. It just didn't work for my schedule at all.
Vegas.
I'm working on it, Cap. I just gotta find people who can make the money happen.
If we, what Wonders Workshop is looking for a sponsor, in all seriousness, if you can sponsor her, get her to, she will go ahead and make sure to promote, whether you're, you have Dragon Shields or whatever you have, she will promote it on her channel.
I heard
This is
through
true.
the grapevine that Team First Form has an Airbnb with an extra room in it. Just
Noted.
tossing that out there. Just tossing that out there.
That makes things one step easier.
We need to do a live podcast episode, you know?
So
Yeah.
Capricorn, you mentioned Vegas. Is there anything before we go? Is there and then we'll go final words. Grace, back to you. But Capricorn, is there any event that you're going to before Vegas? I mean, Vegas.
Did he pause?
What, 3 weeks? So a little more.
You had a little glitch there.
Oh, Vegas is 3 weeks away. So no events before then. I'm not aware of any, and you're just going to be practicing, getting ready for Vegas, right?
Originally, I was planning for the Shattering to slot in between there because that was sort of the initial plan months and months and months ago.
Yep.
So I feel like I actually get a break and I need it. I need to do a lot of testing with my team on tabletop simulators so that we can get up to snuff. We learned a lot at these events, and we need to pivot with a few things and take advantage of that. I think Vegas is going to be crazy. The one thing I'm really hoping is, from my experience with all of these events, we don't quite have the time going to time rules locked in a way that everyone's confident and has peace of mind. And so I'm hoping for Vegas that they'll just do longer rounds and maybe just do the Swiss rounds on Saturday and do top 8 on Sunday to not have to worry about time as much, so that they have time to figure out how to approach going to time and what the best way to do it for the long term is. You definitely don't want those kinds of feel bads in Vegas where they're trying a new thing for the first time, you know? So.
And Grace, did you have a comment about that question, what Capricorn just said?
I think, the thought that came to mind as he was talking is it would also be nice to know that in advance of the event. Because I don't think we've known about the various rule changes before the event. And that can really affect how you build your deck. Like, if you know that you can't win by winning round 1, that can completely affect your strategy. Like one of the decks that I play against on the regular, the strategy is tie in the others and you take round 1. Like,
right. In Houston, it was realm 1 stone was a tiebreaker only if you didn't go to time, because they didn't want people to sit on the realm 1 stone and turtle up and like stall the game out if they had it.
Sure.
And then in Baltimore, that wasn't the case. There was just no realm 1 stone tiebreaker at all, except then I played the side event sealed, and they give 150 tickets to the winner. So what I didn't know until one of my games tied was, in that situation, whoever has the first realm stone is considered the winner of the tie, and they get 100 tickets to your 50. So it's like, and nobody knew that until after it had come up. So it's like, there's just a lot of growing pains. And I don't fault the team. They're trying to figure out things and they're doing the best they can. But we're closer to figuring out solutions and what needs to happen.
I'd still like to see the. I'd like to see the like. I just think of it as the 5 turns thing. The action 0, and your action could be passing or a free action, but like you can do 3 things each. It doesn't matter if your thing is passing. I think 3 is enough to do something, but not drag on forever. I don't
It's
know.
actually a very tricky topic because we had
Yeah.
talked about chess clocks a little bit, and I thought that was a surefire plan C. If all else fails, do the chess clocks. And that's like another layer of complication that you don't want to do if you don't have to, but worst case scenario. And then Ramel actually pointed out to me that chess clocks are an absolute no-go because of certain situations that could pop up. And the example he had was autumn. If you pop off an autumn and there's a whole bunch of wonders coming back from your abyss and from their abyss, like, whose time are you on and when? And I'm like, that is a really good point. So
But is Capricorn? I noticed at the event for both Bow Battle and Wonders, I noticed a lot of judge, getting the judges to come over. And first of all, with the SCG team, I could tell that like they're still getting comfortable understanding the rules. So they were professional. I think they were. What's really great is they didn't pretend they knew everything. They huddled with the other judges. They were trying to get it right. So I thought they were great. But here's my question: as someone that was my first SCG con that I'd ever been to, is that normal in the Magic and Flesh events that you get that many, or is that just more frequent? One, because you have people coming over who've never played, and 2, for our community, it's just again they're tweaking the rules. So if you played in Houston and you've been playing Wonders for a year, all of a sudden you're in Baltimore and like, well, they changed that rule. So is it a combination both the new Magic people and the Wonders people with the rule changes, and is that more than other games that are there, the big 3?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think it's
It's my ways to tell myself not to interrupt you, Cap.
I thought that I interrupted you. I thought that was a signal to me.
No, that's my signal to not interrupt you, but to
No,
remember
I
and to
think
let
it's
you know
somewhere
that
in
I
the
have
middle.
something to say.
I think this game, you know, because it's new, does have a little bit more of that, but I also think that generally there is a decent amount of that among games anyway. Sometimes you just need to call a judge to kind of cover your butt and set a precedent with your opponent. And also, depending on the situations, they can give you time extensions if you have rules questions, if you want to clarify something, or, you know, if your opponent's kind of playing slow, you got to make sure and call the judge over earlier rather than later so that they're aware, like, you don't want to wait until the end of the game and then try to be like, my opponent's slow, because it's kind of too late. You want to set the
Wait a
precedent.
second. So I'm not familiar with this etiquette. You're saying you're playing against Grace, and Grace, keep that finger on your nose. You're playing against Grace. She's playing slow. You go judge, come over and like, take a look at this. Look how slow they're playing. Like, how do you tactfully do that without the person being like, what a jerk? Like,
You just have to understand tournament etiquette, that it's
okay.
just a normal thing. Slow play is very much a thing that you should be concerned about. And so even if you are not meaning to, if they call a judge over, you shouldn't take it personally. It's not even necessarily that the game is at a point where it's a problem. It's just making sure the game doesn't ever get to that point where it's a problem. So it's just like, you know, judge, just want to set the precedent, taking a little bit of time on this play, you know, and he'll pay more attention and see where that goes in the future.
Okay. Grace.
I think I may be wrong on this, but I also think it's like a community culture thing in Wonders to ask lots of questions, because I don't know how often y'all are watching the gameplay channel in Discord, but we literally have access 24/7 to somebody from the team. It might take them an hour to 5 hours, depending on what time you respond, but literally anytime there's a question about how something goes, even if it's as simple as like, I don't understand how Death Strike works, there's somebody there to say, here's a screenshot from the rule book. It might be a community member rather than you know, one of the actual team members, but it's like literally part of our community. And like, I see it all the time in the TTS tournaments, that it's like, put a question in the Discord gameplay channel, and if you don't hear something back in an hour, just roll. Like, even like asynchronously, there's an expectation that we have access to asking questions like that very quickly.
I think I'm going to be making a video soon, just sort of dealing with tournament etiquette, and some of the things that you should know how to proceed. One of the issues that we experienced over the weekend, and it's not really anyone's fault, it's just something that comes with having a close-knit community, is, you know, players would get the urge to call for Rommel or call for Wicked because they're there, and the judges take that as an offense. Like, they take that really, like, you don't go over my head and call for someone over me. You know, you call for the judge, we deal with the situation, and then if there is still question about that and you push it, we will take it on ourselves to go talk to the competitive play organizer, to talk to Wicked or Rommel. But you don't try to circumvent that and say, oh, go get Rommel because you're wrong. You just, you know, you argue your points and you contest their decision, and then they'll go up the chain organically. We did have a couple players try to call for Rommel or Wicked, and they got warnings from the judges for that. So just some growing pains and things we need to get used to. We're not used to that. We're a tight-knit community that is always there for each other. And it's just, you know, when there are prizes and money on the line, you just have to do things through the proper channels.
I think that video will be really, really helpful because, I mean, not just in Wonders do I see this, but like I took my mom and I, my whole family likes to go to pre-releases together when I'm in town with them. And like, it's a whole thing, but we were at pre-release and my mom had her opponent like adamantly tell her she didn't understand double strike, which is a mechanic in Magic. And she was like, no, but she didn't know she could call a judge to be like, you are telling me the wrong thing. And so people just don't understand what abilities, what protections versus not protection. Like if people don't know, they don't know, and they don't know how to handle these things. And if you don't understand the rules, it can, and the etiquette, the expectations, you can get messed up. Somebody can take advantage of that. And that's never something you want. But also you can get your feelings hurt. Like you were talking about with, you know, if you're playing slow, it's not because somebody's mad at you, they're calling somebody over. It's because that's just the expectation. And I think, like I said, that'll be a really helpful video because across board, people don't know that if they haven't played in a tournament before.
Yeah, can't wait to see it.
I've been trying to wait on that video until we know for sure how they're going to deal with tiebreaker and going to time, because it's just so back and forth and in the mix. I don't want to get out a video like that and then have it change. So it's been a little tricky. I wish I could have gotten it out already, but it will be coming as soon as, you know, they're going to have to make final decisions going into Vegas. So,
well, come on, if they change it, that's just more content you make. All right, well, I have one last question and then we'll go to each of you guys for final words. But again, my first one I went was SCG CON Baltimore. I was a little bit surprised. I'm used to the National Card Show. You spend $200, you get in for 4 days. Here it's like there's no charge. I remember telling more the collector's side, I'm like, yeah, they didn't charge me. They didn't charge me to go in. They're like, what? And I'd still like to understand the whole revenue model for like how that works with the space that they had. But so tell me, what have you been to Vegas before, Capricorn?
No, I have not.
Okay, so have you seen videos? Like, is it going to be a different experience? Like, I will say, like, partly what surprised me a little bit, and to describe this, like, it was a little bit of, there were a few vendors, and it was almost like a bingo hall. Like when you first go in, the way they have the tables and the chairs set up, like you could have run a bingo game in there, the way it was set up. And like, of course, then everybody comes in and like, you got Wonders over here, you got Magic over there. And I'm just curious, like, if you're going to go to Vegas, is it going to be similar to Baltimore, or is it going to be, you know, what were those two guys who had the like tigers? What was the name of those two guys? Like, is it going to be like some of that?
Roy?
Yeah, Siegfried and Roy. Is it going to be like lions, like jumping through the air? Like, is this like SCG's premier event, I guess is what to expect? Or is it going to be like SCG Baltimore, just in maybe a newer hotel?
That is a really good question that I do not have the answer to.
Okay.
I don't know about SCG CON, but I would expect the Wonders team to take it up a step in some way, shape, or form. Just knowing the Wonders team, it may not be like the step up that you're talking about, where like you're going from A to Z, but I think there will be some sort of step up in like the quality of experience, because I think we'll probably see more of the team there. I think just because it is going to be kind of the big event. I don't know what the change is going to be, but I think there's going to be something different.
Yeah,
All right.
I think for us, it's going to be bigger for sure. I don't necessarily know if that translates to the entire rest of the con. I would think Vegas would be a little bit bigger, than some of these other ones, but it's hard to say for sure.
Yeah. Well,
Happy to have you.
I can't wait to see the content. Yes, Tasha. Happy to have you. All right. Well, I always want to say Carolina Girl or Grace or Wonders Workshop. We'll name them all. But any final words, Grace?
No, just tell everybody to keep being their wonderful selves.
Great. And good luck with the final 40 days or 30 days.
Thank you.
Capricorn.
Just be good to each other out there. It can be a little bit cutthroat in the tournaments. And that's kind of my final words. Sometimes players will use every trick in the book to try and get ahead. I witnessed one player tell someone they were going to concede to them because they needed to catch a flight, and let's just play it anyway for fun. And then they played it anyway for fun, and they won, and they didn't concede to them. And that was like really disheartening to see. It was like, okay, so you're playing psychological games to get your opponent to lower their guard, and like, there's no rules against that, So I love that our community is, we take care of each other, and we're in such good spirits. That's part of the allure, I think. So everyone, take care of each other. Don't do that. That's my parting thought. But I'm excited about Vegas. I'm excited about the future of this game. Thank you so much. Happy.
All right. Well, listen, thank you very much, Capricorn. Thank you, Grace, with Wonders Workshop. Of course, Capricorn over at Quarantine Capricorn. Thank you, Ben, via Hero Gaming, who was with us earlier. American Texan Plays. We hope you get that electricity back. Thank you for contributing in the audience. And, of course, Tasha and all the other folks
Texan,
who are out there making comments. We appreciate that. Thank you, everybody who can join us live. And thank you to all the folks watching it on the replay. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you again next Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern.